Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is your Black Conservative Liberal. This is podcast number 3, and this is about Mr. Will Smith. But before I get into the topic of conversation for today, if you don't mind, hit that like button, hit that heart button, drop me a comment if you disagree or agree, and let's go in and let's get into the topic. And we're about 2 weeks after the smack heard or seen around the world with Will Smith smacking Chris Rock in front of a nationally or probably a worldwide televised audience. I'm just going to give my opinion on this like I've done in the previous 2 podcasts. Will was wrong. However, I understand why he did it, but I would not advise anybody that's listening. I wouldn't advise myself to do it, especially not my younger self. So I'm going to tell you a brief story about why I can understand why he might have felt the way that he felt. And I don't know all of the details. I'm not going to lie. I don't, besides the initial smack and like a few articles, I really didn't care enough to look into it. But around 2008, 9, 10-ish, my little sister came down and she went to go see who was Trey Songz, who was one of her favorite artists. She went to go get a CD signed from him. They were doing a radio broadcast with Ryan Cameron. I think it was Ryan Cameron. It was an Atlanta radio station. And, let me back up a little bit. She had just been recently diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. And the autoimmune disease attacked, first of all, it was new, so she didn't know what she was dealing with. But one thing that she found out really quickly was that heat bothered her. So she would have to walk around with a cooling vest, which it doesn't look like body armor or anything like that. It just looks like maybe a camo or some type of a flak jacket. But, she used to have to walk around with it to keep herself cool because there are ice packets inside of it. Anyway, she goes out to the radio broadcast and she waits in line. I believe they were at a Best Buy. Part of the line, they were outside. And this was in Georgia. It wasn't Atlanta. It was a suburb of, I don't know. I think they were I don't know where they were. They weren't in the city of, or I don't think technically the perimeter. But, she waited in line and they got to the point where they saw her. And I believe it was Trey Songz that said, "Oh, she's got on a radio, not a radio. She's got on a bulletproof vest to come up here." And then Ryan Cameron came, and then, then Ryan Cameron said something, and I don't want to say that they were poking fun of her, but maybe they just didn't understand why she had on a vest in 90+ degree weather. Now there was a female host or co-host that actually asked why she had it on, and my sister explained it, and the lady, I thank her for this, like over a decade later, but she explained, oh, okay, she has MS. That's why she has this on. Like I said, they weren't really making fun of her, but they hurt her feelings. It's been so long. But anyway, fast forward. She ended up getting the CD signed. I don't know if she got a hug or not, but she came home. She tells me about it, and she dropped a tear. So, putting myself in that situation, had I been there at the store, I probably would have made a really stupid decision. They could have and probably would have gotten me either shot or killed if I would have saw my little sister crying over a disease. That would have been a very stupid decision. And luckily in my age, I can see that, and luckily I wasn't there. Just a little bit more on that story. So she comes home, she tells me the story, and I was very upset. So my thought was, and keep in mind, none of this was smart. But my thought was, okay, well, Ryan Cameron has a daddy-daughter um, dance every year. It's like I can buy a ticket. I think it was like $45. And the crazy thing is, I wanted to take my daughter to the dance before this happened, but I was gonna buy a ticket to the dance and gonna punch him in the mouth for making my sister cry. Trey Songz, I'd figured that I would just run into at some point, and sure enough, I had the opportunity. I have a colleague that works in the music industry, and he asked me to help him out with something, and it was dealing with Trey Songz, like directly dealing with Trey Songz. So I called my little sister like a few days before this event was supposed to have happened, and I asked her, "How upset are you at Trey Songz and Ryan Cameron for what happened?" And now I think this might have been, maybe like, you know what? Okay, I think that it was probably about 8 to 9 months later. She told me that, she was still hurt that, somebody that she went to go pay her money to buy a CD, spend her time to just get an autograph. Somebody who was her favorite artist, or one of her favorite artists. I don't want to say her favorite artist, one of her favorite artists, with a dope CD. That was a very good CD. Kind of shitted on her for something that she didn't have anything to do with. She wasn't tripping though. I explained to her the ramifications of what would happen if I were to punch either one of these men that I were planning on punching, unprovoked and sucker punching. It certainly could have ended up in death for me, at the very least jail, or better yet, at the very least stomped out, and rightfully so. But I was willing to do that because they made my little sister cry. Well, she said no. Not only would I, possibly risk getting my ass whooped, jail, stomped out, or murder, I would have ruined a relationship with a colleague. So, real world consequences. Luckily, she said no, because if she would have said yes, I would have followed through with my plan, and I wouldn't, more than likely, I wouldn't have been in this position that I am right now to riff about nothing but my opinion in my spare time. So I understand Will Smith as far as why he just shouldn't have done it. Or if it were me, I didn't do it, and I didn't have anywhere near as much to lose as Will Smith. I will also say that Will Smith is a bully too. I seriously doubt that he would have been that bold to do that to someone that was his size, that he wasn't looking down on. The fact that he turned his back and walked away, he wasn't intimidated at all, or he felt absolutely no threat with Chris Rock. And the funny thing is, it looked like Chris Rock almost took at least half a step towards Will Smith, but he stopped himself. And Chris Rock is a much bigger man than I am, because I would have said so much, he would have had to come back up on the stage, and we would have fought, or they would have left, because they have far too much out, and all their kids are grown. You think you're gonna slap me in the face? It was not a good look at all for society, specifically black men. Like, what was the purpose in this? You just slapped this dude. You all are wearing tuxes, and then you went and sat down back in your seat that was in the front row and watched the rest of the show, and then won an award, and everybody stood up and clapped for you. I'm still trying to figure out how. I think it was Denzel Washington and Tyler Perry. It's like, y'all consoling Will Smith. I'm the one that got slapped in front of everybody, and I got to continue working. What he crying for? I'm the one that got slapped. Now, It's funny. My my mother and I disagree on this topic. She agrees 100% with Chris Rock, and the reason she does it is because she's afforded the that opinion because she's a woman and she's not the one that has to deal with violence. Take that setting out, like take out the Oscars and the security of the Oscars and the ambience of the Oscars, and let's say that scenario happens on the street. A guy says something to someone's woman or wife, or you know what? I don't even want to just say their spouse. You go up to someone that you're physically bigger than, and you hit them. If they pull out a gun and they shoot you, depending on the state, they might be justified. I'm not saying that you should not defend your woman, but they don't have to deal with the ramifications of the violence. Because in most scenarios, you're not just going to walk up to somebody and slap them and then go sit down. There is no other arena that I can think of where you're going to walk up to somebody that's being televised, not on like ESPN Ocho. I don't know what channel that award show was on, but where are you slapping somebody and they're giving the establishment is giving the person they just literally committed a crime the option to stay and watch the show. Damn the police. You know, Chris Rock says he doesn't want to press charges or whatever during the show. You know, whatever. I understand that he's a bigger man than I am, because I sure as hell wouldn't have got slapped and then not press charges. Like I'm not. I'm either swinging or I don't need to call 911. Where do I need to sign? He can accept his award from booking. He's a much bigger man than I am, and a much bigger man than Will Smith is. And I think it's like I said, it's been about 2 weeks. So things have come out regarding her thoughts. To be honest, I didn't read it. I know that he has a 10-year ban. And it really doesn't matter. He still won the award that he was going for, that he cried for, that everybody freaking stood up and clapped for after he assaulted somebody on stage. Where are we going in society where that is okay? Like I said, don't do that in the real world, especially nowadays, because everybody's running around armed, and rightfully so. I have no issues with people constitutionally carrying, either open or concealed. But you don't put your hands on people, folks. That's just not a wise decision. And I'm gonna end it there. And with that, let's just end it with tell somebody that you love them today, folks.